Versatility of iridium-based catalysis, application in both CH bond and CO2 activation. We were allotted the keywords CH, sigma and CO2 for our presentation, and we have figured out an interesting way to connect the three dots. We chose to look at iridium, which has a widespread use in catalysis, be it electrochemical, photochemical or organometallic. In this presentation, we will try to put up a few examples of how iridium complexes play with these three random words. I will start this presentation by introducing the topic of CH bond activation followed by sigma bond metathesis briefly. CH bond activation refers to the reactions involving the cleavage of an unreactive CH bond of alkanes, arenes or alkyl chains by transition metal complexes to form products with CM bond. The aim is a subsequent functionalization step that converts the resulting CM unit into a CX group, where X belongs to a wide range of useful functionality like OH, NH2, aryl, etc. In traditional cross-coupling reactions, extra procedures for preparing organic halides or triflates, organic boron, as shown in the figure, are needed. CH bond activation approach, as we can see in the figure, avoids such pre-functionalization and hence makes the reaction economic. The ultimate goal of the field is the replacement of activated reactant molecules such as RBr and ROTS in synthesis by simple, greener and less expensive RH, which is relatively unreactive and hence requires metal catalysis. This is illustrated in the palladium catalyzed reaction as shown in the figure, where Rx is used for cross-coupling pathway and Rh is used for the activation pathway. Now I will elaborate on the mechanisms of CH bond activation, which may follow different pathways like oxidative addition, electrophilic aromatic substitution, sigma bond metathesis, single electron transfer, etc. In oxidative addition, a metal in low oxidation state, that is electron rich, interacts strongly with CH bond in a synergistic fashion via a sigma CH bond coordination to the metal, forming a transition state which undergoes bond cleavage in homolytic manner, oxidizing the metal center by 2 units. In case of electrophilic aromatic substitution, metal centers act as Lewis acids. This activation is based on interaction between pi clouds of substrate and electrophilic metal center, forming a new CM bond without change in oxidation state of metal. Sigma bond metathesis is preferred for metals in high oxidation state, that is electron deficient, where the bond cleavage and formation proceeds through a concerted mechanism via a 4-member transition state without changing the oxidation state at the metal center. Single electron transfer is a 2-electron process divided into 2 steps involving 1 electron each. First, a homolytic cleavage of CH bond occurs forming metal hydride species and a radical, after which radical recombination occurs and oxidation state of metal center increases by 2 units. Apparent oxidative addition reductive elimination sequences may proceed by a different concerted process known as sigma bond metathesis or sigma bond complex assisted metathesis. This is observed for transition metal complexes with D0 configuration like Cp2ZrCl and WMe6, where oxidative addition, that is pathway A, is forbidden, since the product would have to be D-2 configuration as oxidation state increases by 2. Hence, pathway B, that is sigma bond metathesis, is followed instead.
Let's see how we can perform CH activation using iridium complexes. The iridium complexes used here have a methoxo and 2 acetylacetonate ligands in common. They differ by just one ligand, that is methanol and pyridine in either case. The complexes, namely 2-methanol and 2-pyridine, are both capable of performing CH activation in a benzene molecule with the simultaneous generation of stoichiometric amounts of methanol. Both complexes under certain reaction conditions are able to generate the complex 3, where we can clearly see that the CH bond of the benzene has been activated. In order to facilitate the binding of benzene, a ligand needs to leave, and methanol being a much more labile ligand than pyridine, the reaction with the 2-methanol complex is much faster compared to the 2-pyridine complex. Now, this figure shows the proposed mechanism for the CH activation. Theoretical calculations as well as experimental observations point towards a sigma bond metathesis pathway. Pathways involving oxidative addition, oxidative hydrogen migration, or ionization of the methoxide group were all found to be higher in energy. It is not yet clear why this system favors a sigma bond metathesis pathway over one that involves oxidative addition. Possible reasons could be that the lone pair on the methoxo oxygen facilitates the hydrogen transfer, and the decreased electron density of the metal center due to the 5 adjacent electronegative oxygen atoms disfavors a transition state with oxidative addition character. isotope labeling studies have further supported the sigma bond metathesis pathway. This was the first publication which showed intermolecular CH activation reaction with an iridium alkoxo complex or any metal alkoxo complex for that matter.
CH activation of aliphatic ethers was studied using an iridium complex solution which is designated as 1N2 in presence of 1,2-dimethoxyethane, in short DME, as the ether at 80 degrees Celsius. The products were an iridium carbene complex 2A and an benzyl ether derivative. Mechanistic investigation under milder conditions shows double CH bond activation of methoxy fragment of DME leading to formation of the iridium carbene complex 3A. Also, selectivity over activation of primary CH bonds is observed due to strong MCH2R bond formation. Subsequent reversible alpha hydrogen and beta hydrogen elimination from 3 leads to ether oxygen coordinated iridium complex 5, which ultimately yields the carbene 2A and the benzyl ether derivative. Details of the final steps are mentioned later. Also, generality of double CH bond activation was observed using other methyl ethers, suggesting iridium complexes can be employed to activate various aliphatic methyl ethers. Presence of the carbene 3 was experimentally verified by reversible formation of methyl cyanide adducts, which are designated as 4 in the scheme. Unlike methyl ethers, studies of aliphatic ethyl ether under similar reaction scheme gave complex mixture of products, which are part of ongoing research.
In continuation with Arnav's presentation, as he explained the event of double CH activation for aliphatic ether, I am going to demonstrate another interesting occurrence that takes place afterwards the CH activation. Studying the recent results regarding CH activation reactions of unstrained ethers, which was done by iridium-3 complex coordinated with some stabilizing ligands, which is in this case hydrotrease 3,5-dimethyl pyrazolyl borate, it was observed that the reaction pathways involve not only multiple CH activation but also cleavage of CO bonds along with generation of new CC bonds. As previously explained, activation of 1,2-dimethoxyethane by iridium complex, which is coordinated to N2, gives a B-citrate carbene along with benzyl ether, which is actually generated from dehydrogenative coupling of a molecule of reaction solvent benzene and another molecule of DME. In this whole reaction, carbene 3 is an active participant which is generated from double CH activation of DME. Now, when this complex 3 was heated in cyclohexane for few hours, the reaction eventually results in isolation of hydrate aryl derivative 5. The formation of 5 probably follows the mechanism as shown in the following scheme. In first step, migration of hydrate to the carbene in complex 3 generates an unsaturated 16-electron iridium-3 species that was trapped in the form of acetonityl adduct 4. These species can evolve through beta hydrate elimination, leading to a hydrate benzene complex intermediate F, which finally experiences a CC coupling reaction. Subsequently, a molecule of benzene reacts with complex 5, releasing the benzyl ether and the unsaturated iridium phenyl hydrate G. Double CH activation of methyl group of a second molecule of an aliphatic ether by intermediate G will eventually generate the dihydrate carbene complex 2. It is noteworthy that the reaction were carried out in excess aliphatic ether to prevent any side reaction with the released benzyl ether. Another interesting observation is that when heated in benzene, carbene 2 did not release H2 to form complex 3. This prevented development of a catalytic cycle for the production of benzyl ethers from benzene and methyl ethers. Now, how can we exploit this reaction pathway? Well, the formation of CC bond following CH activation can serve as an attractive methodology for the synthesis of elaborate molecules from common starting materials. Also, this study gives us the scope of thinking a situation where multiple purposes such as CH bond activation, functionalization, and CC bond formation leading to homologation of hydrocarbon and related compound can be done using same catalyst precursor, which eventually makes this reaction more atom economical.
Here we discuss about the activation of alkyl aryl ethers. When the complex 1N2 is reacted with anisole or phenitol, two isomeric iridium hydride carbene compounds 7Ab and 8Ab formed in different ratios. Complex 7Ab are resulted from CH bond activation of alkyl terminus of the ether accompanied by CH cyclometallation as in the case with alkyl ethers. But complex 8Ab were completely unexpected. During the reaction of 1N2 with phenitol, we also get a iridium hydride alkene 9 which is in equilibrium with its tautomer alkylidine. This shows the mechanism of the activation of alkyl aryl ethers. There are three possible pathways for the reaction to go. First two pathways A and B have in common that the activation reaction is assisted by a coordination of the oxygen atom to the metal center. This forms the most stable intermediate H. Once the ether is coordinated to the metal center, CH activation occurs, which involves sigma complex assisted metathesis mechanism. The highest energy barrier corresponds to the first activation. For both the paths, the last OH cleavage is a reversible alpha hydrogen elimination that yields the final iridium hydride complex. Path C implies instead a direct activation of sp2ch bond of the phenyl ring assisted either by pi coordination or by formation of sigma complex. This mechanism shows CH bond activation of 2,6-dimethylanisole, which leads an insight of how product 8AB might have formed. The mechanism of conversion of 11 into 12 necessitates a reversible alpha elimination, followed by CH bond activation of one of the orthomethyl groups of the ether and concomitant elimination of a molecule of benzene. The conversion of I into product 10A occurs through the elementary reactions depicted in the mechanism. This shows the mechanism for interconversion of hydride alkene and alkylidene structure. Equilibration of metal alkene and metal alkylidene structure is an example of prototropic tautomerism in organometallic compounds. This metal-mediated rearrangement occurs in 4 elementary steps, which proceeds through a 5-coordinated transition state. The strong IR-carbene electronic interaction stabilizes the alkylidene over the alkene structure.
After CH activation and sigma bond metathesis, we will slowly move to CO2 activation. That is converting CO2 to its lower oxidation state derivative, mainly formate. As CO2 is a broadly available natural carbon source, converting CO2 to different organic molecules is a vast area of research. However, its high thermodynamic and kinetic stability makes it difficult to reach the goal. So here we will describe 2 catalytic paths for CO2 activation. One is organometallic, another is photocatalytic, and both paths effectively activate CO2 in mild conditions.
Fixation of CO2 into value-added chemicals now became an active research topic, as CO2 is naturally available and cheap. But activation of CO2 has many difficulties because CO2 is thermodynamically and kinetically very stable. So many procedures were used over years to increase the reactivity of CO2 and to convert it into useful chemicals. For example, at first it was proposed that the direct hydrogenation of CO2 would give useful formic acid, but the reaction is unfavorable because delta G of the reaction is positive, which is 33 kcal per mole, and it requires high hydrogen and CO2 pressure. And despite of these conditions, the yield is very low. So now transition metal catalyzed hydrogenation is favored over direct hydrogenation. In transition metal catalysis, at first ruthenium-based hydrosilylation of CO2 was reported, which allows formation of silyl formates. Here, yield is good, but high CO2 pressure is needed. Then iridium-catalyzed hydrosilylation was reported, where reaction takes place at room temperature and normal pressure. Ruthenium-based catalysis yields silyl formates only, but for iridium-based catalysis, at first silyl formates form, which can be reduced to CH2OSI R3 or R3SiOCH3 by using more equivalent of silane. Based on these points, we can conclude that iridium-catalyzed hydrosilylation is more efficient than ruthenium. Here we will discuss an example of CO2 fixation via iridium-catalyzed hydrosilylation, reported by Francisco J. Fernandez Alvarez and Luis A. Oro in 2012. Here the reactions are solvent-free, generates zero waste, proceed efficiently in mild conditions, and synthesis occurs in gram scale.
In this slide, I will discuss about the synthetic scheme of active catalyst precursor. The large-scale applicability of the catalytic reduction of CO2 to silyl formate mainly depends on the improvement of the selectivity and activity of the reaction under mild reaction condition. For this purpose, an iridium-based catalyst has been developed and heptamethyl trisilyloxane are used as reducing agent. HMTase has been used because it is commercially available, non-toxic, soluble in most organic solvent, and it is stable under air and moisture. In the first step, a new tridentate bis pyridine 2 xyloxy methylsilyl ligand precursor has been synthesized. The translabelizing property of the silicon atom are reduced by the electronic effect of the two SiO bonds. In the part 2 of the synthesis of active catalyst precursor, the reaction scheme is composed of 3 steps. An interesting result which has been observed is that the treatment of the solution 3 in CH2Cl2 and CH3CN at 4:1 ratio lead to formations of species 4. But the solution of 2 is stable under the same reaction condition. This confirms that the hydrogenation of cyclooctene is favored against its hydrosilylation. It also suggests a relevant role of the triplet ligand in compound 3. Here, the compound 4 act as an active catalyst precursor which is air and moisture stable and effectively promote the hydrosilylation of CO2.
Now let's see how the active catalyst precursor 4 helps in activation of CO2. Experimentally, it was seen that silicon hydrogen bond can reduce CO2 in mild condition to silyl formate in presence of catalytic amount of precursor 4, over the course of 6 days, obtaining 90% yield. There were two hypotheses about the mechanism. First hypothesis suggests the substitution of MECN by CO2, but it was discarded as the product is energetically quite uphill in contrast to the product obtained by removal of MECN followed by oxidative addition with silane that was suggested by accepted second hypothesis. This yields reactive iridium hydride bond that reduces CO2 to formate. The energy profile diagram is shown here. Note that more amount of silane can reduce silyl formate further to formaldehyde derivative and methoxide.
Here we talk about mononuclear iridium terpyridine 2-phenylpyridine complex, in short IRPPY, which selectively reduced CO2 to CO under visible light at 480 nanometer without any additional photosynthesizers. Before this, rhenium bipyridine complex systems were the only mononuclear systems that exhibited definite photocatalytic activity for CO2 reduction, even though they produced CO with a high quantum yield, but their absorption was limited to wavelengths less than 440 nanometer, and in presence of water, the activity reduced significantly. The figure shows the photocatalytic formation of CO over IRPPY compared with the conventional rhenium bipyridine complex under visible light irradiation. Here both the turnover number and the initial CO formation rate is greater. The IRPPY reduced CO2 even under irradiation at 480 nanometer with a quantum yield of 13%. The isotope analysis shows that the CO produced was indeed from the dissolved CO2 in the solution. The second figure here is the amount of CO produced versus the irradiation time in normal condition in part A and in presence of water in part B. Though there is a decrease in the turnover number, it's not by much. In the cyclic voltammogram under CO2 atmosphere, we see a catalytic current peak at minus 1.05 volt, and this catalytic current improves in the presence of water, and this is very close to the ideal CO2 reduction potential of minus 0.76 volt. Conventional metal complex electrocatalysts have peaks at around minus 1.4 volt for CO2 reduction. Thus, this iridium complex is not only an excellent photocatalyst but also an excellent electrocatalyst. Steady-state measurements of changes in the absorption spectra during irradiation under photocatalytic conditions with CO2 are shown in this figure. The absorption spectra change slightly within the first 2 minutes itself. Further photoirradiation induced a dramatic change in the spectra from the black plot at 0 minute to the red plot at 30 minutes. That was accompanied by two isobastric points with an increasing irradiation time. In contrast, this spectral change did not occur in the absence of triethanolamine. Based on these results, the changes in the absorption bands observed at 455, 510 and 720 nanometer can be interpreted as a structural change of IRPPY as CO2 reduction progresses.
In this slide, what we'll primarily discuss are the ESIMS results, which will give us an idea about the structural changes that occur during the photocatalytic reduction. So basically, before the irradiation, we have one peak at 615 corresponding to the iridium PPY complex, which is the initial complex. After irradiation for 30 minutes, we see that the peak shifts to 611, which is basically a solvated complex peak. And after 300 minutes, that is after the deactivation of the reduction process, we obtain a peak at 1236. So basically what we can attribute this peak to is a deactivated iridium dimer, which is formed as a byproduct of the CO2 to CO conversion. So basically from these observations, we can have the proposed catalytic cycle. Here there are two takeaways. One, that triethanolamine acts as a 1 electron reductive quencher, and it also acts as a proton source in the same catalytic cycle. Next, what we look at are the further possibilities of enhancing the photocatalyst efficiency. So basically what we have observed that if we incorporate electron donating groups like methyl substituted polypyridine into the iridium complex, we observe a greater reaction rate and a greater turnover number. In contrast, if we're using electron withdrawing groups like trifluoromethyl substituted polypyridine, we observe a reaction rate and turnover number which is lower than even the basic initial starting complex, which is IRPPY, which is basically an unsubstituted polypyridyl complex. These results hence indicate that the hydride donating property of the iridium hydride complex is controlled by the electron donating functions of the polypyridyl ligand, which improves CO2 reduction activity remarkably. I'd like to conclude on this note, thanking all my friends who worked as a team for this presentation. We all realized that iridium is an extremely versatile metal with a plethora of possible applications in the field of CH, CC activation, and also in photoredox catalysis. Thank you.